I started learning Python a few years ago, and it felt really tough. I thought I would never get it and would be stuck using Excel as an old school data analyst. But I stayed motivated and learned step by step, eventually landing my first programming job. I picked up useful tricks and tips from each job along the way. I'll share some Python tricks in this video with you. I hope they help you as much as they've helped me. Let's start, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Python trick 1, zip function. One of the coolest tricks I learned early on was Python's zip function. It combines multiple iterables into a single iterable of tuples, making it super easy to loop through them in parallel. This was a game changer for me, transforming messy nested loops into clean, readable code. I remember needing to pair up names and ages from two lists. Before zip, my code was full of index variables and hard to follow. Here's how zip simplified it. This made my code cleaner and much easier to read. Zip is your friend whenever you need to process multiple sequences together. Try it in your projects and see how much simpler your code becomes. Python trick 2, the walrus operator. The walrus operator was a revelation for me. It allows you to assign values as part of an expression, combining assignment and evaluation in a single step. This can make your code more concise and readable. I used to write code to read user input in a loop until they entered a valid value. The old way was repetitive. This little trick made my loops simpler and easier to follow. Try using the walrus operator to streamline your code in similar scenarios. Python trick 3, set operations. Discovering set operations in Python was a game changer for me. Sets are unique collections that support mathematical operations like union, intersection, and difference. They efficiently handle unique elements and simplify complex set theory tasks. I remember working on a project where I needed to find common items between two lists and items unique to each. Using sets made this task much easier. Sets made my code more efficient and easier to understand. Whenever you need to handle unique elements or perform set operations, try Python sets. Python trick 4, unpacking. Unpacking is one of those tricks that made my coding life much easier. It allows you to unpack iterable objects into function arguments or variable assignments, making your code more flexible and readable. I used to struggle with functions that required multiple arguments. Managing these arguments manually was a hassle. Then I discovered unpacking. Using this for unpacking made my function calls and assignments much simpler and cleaner. This small change has a big impact on the readability of your code. Give it a try in your projects. Python trick 5, the data classes module. The data classes module was a breath of fresh air for me. It automates the creation of class instances with minimal boilerplate, reducing the need for manual methods and making class definitions cleaner and more maintainable. I used to write a lot of repetitive code to initialize class attributes. It was tedious and prone to errors. Then I found data classes. Using data classes made my code much cleaner and easier to maintain. If you're dealing with a lot of class definitions, give data classes a try. It will save you time and keep your code base tidy. Python trick 6, the functools. Root cache decorator. The functools. Root cache decorator was a game changer for me. It adds caching to functions, storing the results of expensive function calls. This speeds up frequently called functions with the same arguments, improving performance significantly. I remember working on a project requiring heavy computations, and the repeated calculations slowed everything down. Discovering root cache was a lifesaver. With caching, repeated calls became almost instantaneous, saving precious computation time. This trick is particularly useful for functions in data processing, where the same calculations are performed multiple times. It made my code faster and more efficient. Try using root cache in your projects and see the performance boost for yourself. Python trick 7, generators and yield. Discovering generators and the yield keyword was a turning point for me. Generators are functions that return an iterable sequence of values, saving memory by yielding items one at a time and allowing for lazy evaluation. I used to work with large datasets that couldn't fit into memory simultaneously. Iterating through them efficiently was a challenge, until I found generators. Generators transformed my approach to handling large data. They are particularly useful for processing big files, data streams, or any scenario where you want to avoid loading everything into memory simultaneously. Using yield has made my code more efficient and scalable. Give generators a try in your next project to see the benefit. Python trick 8, the Itertools module. The Itertools module has been a lifesaver in many of my projects. It offers a collection of fast, memory-efficient tools for iterating over data. This module enhances performance and provides powerful tools for working with iterables, such as combinations, permutations, and Cartesian products. I often needed to generate all possible pairs or combinations from a list of items. Before Itertools, my code was bulky and inefficient. Here's how Itertools simplified it. Itertools made my code more efficient and readable. It's especially useful for tasks involving complex iterations, like generating permutations for algorithm testing or creating Cartesian products for data analysis. Incorporate Itertools in your projects to see significant improvements in performance and simplicity. Python Trick 9, the mapping proxy type. I remember when I needed to protect my dictionary from accidental modifications. That's when I discovered mapping proxy type. It creates a read-only view of a dictionary, ensuring the original dictionary remains unchanged, adding a layer of security and stability. I was working on a project where the configuration settings had to remain constant throughout the execution. Here's how mapping proxy type helped. Using mapping proxy type ensured my configuration settings were safe from unintended changes. It's particularly useful in scenarios where you must safeguard critical data structures. Give it a try to enhance the security and stability of your code. Python Trick 10, the Pathlib module. Discovering the Pathlib module was a game changer for my file handling tasks. It simplifies file path manipulations with an object-oriented approach, making operations more readable and reducing the risk of errors. It's a modern alternative to OS. Path. I used to juggle with OS, path for file operations, and my code was often messy and hard to read. Here's how Pathlib improved it. Using Pathlib made my file operations cleaner and more intuitive. It's particularly useful for managing file paths and streamlining file handling tasks. Give Pathlib a try to see how it can simplify your code. I've learned these tricks over the years, and I hope they've helped you. Try these tricks, and you'll surely see significant improvements in your coding. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips like these, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I also encourage you to share your best Python trick in the comments below. Let's create a supportive community where we can all learn and help each other grow. Thanks for watching, and happy coding!